Pardon me and my tone. You can't step to my throne. They ain't working like me. I did this on my own. You asking where we been, huh? I don't know where to begin, huh? All this dirt on my skin. I just came here to win. I'm more than a man, I'm a monster. Somebody call a pastor, doctor. I got a 6th sense for imposters. So now I'm coming for the whole roster. It's not a game, why you playing with me? You could double back, lose track, try and hang with me. It must be in my veins, something you can't tame, cause I break the chain. Can't control me. I got the power.
Welcome to Talkin VAWLS Live. My name is the Indy Kid.
I'm Dauber. What's happening?
Hey, what's up, man? Tennessee 72-59, methodical approach, methodical game tonight. Takes care of business. Not much doubt once they got to halftime and beyond. Even with Kennedy Chandler kind of slowed and a bit injured on tonight, Tennessee just took care of business. So, opening thoughts. Still got everybody rolling in here to the chat. Those numbers kind of rolling up here a little bit. Got Terry Reed, Triple J with the exclamation. Zachary Whitfield, hey everyone. Tim Bradley, GBO, Undie Voice, the Double J, Triple J, we've been waiting for. Yeah, opening thoughts. What did you think about tonight?
Like Ed is for UT, just said, great second half. First half, they were I don't know if they were just kind of getting their legs down there in Florida, or it just seemed like they'd build up a 6-point lead and then just, kind of play a little ho-hum. Had some turnover issues earlier in the game. And then Kennedy Chandler tweaks his ankle, and it looked a little sketchy in the first half for a bit. Because like we've talked about before, it seems like when Chandler or Vescovi or Josiah Jordan-James, when any of those guys have to sit via foul trouble or, whatever, it seems like the offense kind of bogs down. And we've talked about the offense seems to click the best when they're running that small multi-guard lineup. And, when you've got Kennedy Chandler, who's been playing probably his best basketball of the season of late, going down, it was a kind of a uh-oh, but everybody else kind of stepped up. It was good to see Chandler kind of come back in at the end of the game. Hopefully it's just something minor. And I'll go ahead and say this. I'd love to see him playing on Sunday. But if it means going out tomorrow and resting Chandler for the NCAA tournament, I'd rather him do that.
Yep, totally agree with you on that. I was impressed that even when he went out tonight, they still played well. They still did a good job on that. They still took care of business. But yeah, that's but like I said, I was concerned, and then when he came back in late, that kind of eased some of my concerns with it. But I'm with you. I'm totally with you on that. If it means getting him the rest, if they need to go out tomorrow to get him the rest, so be it. Because
up double digits, I don't think they would have put him back in if it was something serious.
I don't either. And that was kind of my thing from the get-go. And he was standing up. He was kind of working that leg, that ankle the whole time. If it had been more serious, you wouldn't have seen him back here in the tunnel the whole time. I really don't think so. So that's a positive. I want to see this team win the tournament. This is 1 year. A lot of times I'm not a real advocate for it. This is one. I want to see them win the tournament. That means they're playing well on a neutral floor.
Yeah.
I was impressed tonight. I mean, Mississippi State beat South Carolina last night. Tennessee had their hands full with them when they beat them in Starkville. That was a good win at the time. Mississippi State, I think, underachieved a bit this year. But on a neutral floor tonight, they just come out. They took care of business. They were methodical. They went through their motions. They did what they had to do. And I never felt, I don't know, it was going back to Pro Wrestling Guru. Let me find it here. He said, is this the most confident y'all been heading into the tournament? I know it is for me. Even the Grant team had a tough stretch. I felt like this team had a business-like approach tonight. They talked about on the pregame about how Barnes looked just calm, relaxed. The team didn't look like they were pushing tonight, and I felt numerous years where they've entered the SEC tournament and it's looked like they're pushing. This team just looked like it was business as usual tonight.
Well,
and
to that point, you look at the scoring. You had 5 guys in double digits. So, that's sharing the ball. That's a total team effort. And you had Fulkerson with 8, so he was on the door of double digits. He has really picked up his game offensively. And I think it goes back to a couple games ago when he started being decisive with the basketball. Now we're not getting the quality minutes, but for little bursts, if he can be effective like that, I think that's going to be an asset this postseason.
Yep. Totally agree with you. Let's see. John Hill for $10. What a great 8th inning for Diamond Vols and great second half to make it to the semifinals. Yeah, Diamond Vols won game 1. What was it, 18-4? Maybe off on that. They're currently up in the 6th inning, 8-1. So if you see me kind of looking up, that's what I'm looking up at right now. Thank you, John. We appreciate that. Good night so far for Tennessee. They're going to finish the sweep in baseball. We'll see. I still feel confident. Vandy's had a good start to the tournament. I still feel pretty confident we'll be seeing Kentucky tomorrow afternoon. Frankly, that's who I want. Tennessee's beaten Vanderbilt twice. I want Kentucky tomorrow. And if Kentucky puts them out, so be it. That's just the way it is. But at this point in the season, if you're Tennessee, I think you want to face the best competition to get you ready for the tournament. Facing Kentucky, you're not going to face a much better team than that. And if you lose going against them tomorrow, so be it. You're in the tournament. I think winning today, their worst case, a 3 seed. And even if they win the tournament, I don't know if they can improve to a 2 seed or not. Maybe. I think it's possible, but I think at this point, worst case, you're 3. You want Kentucky if you're Tennessee tomorrow. You want to have the rubber match. You want to have the trilogy for the season.
Well, like you said, it better prepares you for the tournament because you're more likely to see a quality opponent. You get to that second weekend, it should be a pretty good matchup. And if you're just skating into it, one thing I think you brought up the last time we were live, this team hasn't lost back-to-back games this season.
All year. Pretty wild.
I'd rather go out in the SEC tournament and, get your loss there because you lose one in the NCAA tournament, you're done. So.
Oh, my gosh. I got to make a lot of this. Miracles happen every day. Wayne Starnes agreed with the Indy Kid. It's a miracle. Giving you a hard time, Wayne. But even if they go out tomorrow, they do. I want Kentucky. That's the best team to play. That's the best team left in this tournament. Auburn going out today was a surprise. Didn't see that coming, but Auburn is. I don't know, man. A part of me thinks Auburn got a little cocky once they got up. They started dancing on opponents' logos, and
didn't
They
work
started
out well in
losing
Knoxville.
when
Yeah.
they started losing when they started doing that. And when you're ranked that high, teams you're playing do not need that motivation. And A&M's coming in. They beat Florida. That was a pretty dramatic game. They beat Auburn today. I kind of thought coming in that whoever wins the SEC tournament, whether it's Tennessee or Kentucky, if they were to win it, they were going to have to go through Arkansas. I think Arkansas is better than Auburn. I really do. I think Auburn is flawed. They've got Jabari Smith, but Tennessee shut Kessler down. Their guards are kind of meh. We can go on about how great Bruce Pearl is. Meh. He's got a flawed system, in my opinion. Great coach, but I don't know. I don't think his personnel matches up this year. I think I think Arkansas. Arkansas is a good team, man. That was a good win for Tennessee last week, getting Arkansas.
Oh, yeah. And just to echo your point, anytime you got one of those little tiny single-digit numbers by your name, you know that the team you're going against is you're getting their best shot. And this time of year, regardless of who you play, you're gonna. Some of these teams, Mississippi State was playing for a chance to continue their season. You look at I saw during the game Conzo Martin got fired.
Got canned today. No surprise. But.
Cream at Georgia fired. So these guys are and coaches are some of them coaching for their their livelihood. Some of these guys are playing their last minutes of college basketball. So tournament, that's what makes tournament time fun. You're getting to see good basketball.
Yeah, I mean, you can't let your guard down this time. I mean, Alabama saw it last night. They're a tournament team. Vandy took care of business. I mean, A&M today with Auburn took care of business. I mean, it's this is the time of year in the bigger this is not to rehash any debates about conference tournament. That's not where I'm going with it, but I do like the bigger conference tournaments because those are when these teams they improve seeding. If you're a Tennessee team who's a 2 in the conference, I think your ideal path if you were Tennessee was to see Kentucky and beat them and then to see Auburn, but I'm not sure it's a step down to see Arkansas either if you're able to get by Kentucky tomorrow, and I firmly believe Kentucky beats Vanderbilt tonight. That's the excitement of conference tournaments for me is the bigger conferences, really, because there is, there's stuff to play for there more than the NCAA tournament. It's seeding.
Right.
We've had some interesting debates on that, and it's been fun. It's been some fun debates on it, actually. This Tennessee team going in and talking about it tonight, they mentioned it multiple times. Is this team really – they talked about how Rick Barnes said it. It was mentioned on the telecast. Is this team really a national title contender to you?
If they're playing their best basketball, yes. If they're that up and down Jekyll and Hyde team, I mean that they could very well, lose in the first round. It just I have to think that what you're seeing, you've got some veterans, and you've got Kennedy Chandler, who is, like I said, really kind of emerging and playing his best basketball of the season. So I think that if they can figure some things out, because you look at their losses, they're either neutral or away games for the most. Well, yeah, for all of them, because they were undefeated at home. So if they can play away from Knoxville and play their best basketball. We've seen them play with, pretty elite teams this season. The split with the other top teams in the SEC, played with a ranked Texas team. When they play good basketball, they're sound. When their defense is converting into offense, and when they're driving the basketball, penetrating, kicking out, Terry Reed, sneaky good. That's a good way to describe them. I think this team, they're athletic, and if they stay out of foul trouble and don't turn the ball over, they can make a run. Absolutely.
We talked about it back in January. We talked about it in February. Doesn't matter how you're playing in January. Doesn't matter how you're playing in February. Matters how you're playing in March. This team has hit their stride at the right time. And I'm curious to see what kind of run they can make, because I felt tonight was, I don't know, maybe I'm in the minority on this. I was very, very impressed tonight just because Chandler's hurt. Huntley Hatfield had one of his, if not his best games of the year this year. Josiah Jordan-James, man, he just keeps playing, and they need him to keep playing the way he's doing. Let me pull his stats back up here. I had him up a minute ago. You had Huntley Hatfield with 10 and 3. Euros 4 and 4. Vescovy with 10. Chandler 11, and he was hurt. I'd like to see his minutes tonight because I don't feel like he played a lot of minutes. James 16 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Fulkerson 8 and 6. Ziegler 11 points, 8 assists. They know their rotation at this point. They know what they're doing. Man, this just looks like a confident team. And again, this is the most, I would say, relaxed I've seen this team going into a conference tournament in years. They just look like, we're coming to kick your ass. And you're just going to, you can like it or you can deal with it. And that's the mentality they had tonight.
Listen, this team is 10-1 since the loss to Texas. So, like you said, it matters how you're playing in March. They're rolling into March. They tend to have a little bit of a drought pretty much every game offensively. But I think those are getting easier to bounce back from because their defense is so solid. You talk about that they've had a top 5 defensive efficiency nearly all season. And if the defense is playing well, the offense only has to do just enough.
Yeah. I think it's a good point right here. They're acting like they've been there before. I feel like there's been a lot of years they're acting like it was the first time they'd been there.
Right.
Even with some of their teams that were more experienced, were some of the better teams, it was like they played scared. Team tonight, man, just come in like we're coming in to take care of business.
I totally agree with that. You've had some teams play not to lose in the past, and when you play like that, you play scared, you play not to lose. You're not playing,
you lose.
Not playing with that confidence, and I really think this team they do play with confidence. I don't think they. We've seen that before when what game was it that they were like 2 of 24 and still throwing up 3-pointers?
Oh, it was the Texas Tech at the Garden.
Yeah, I mean,
and still about won that game. It went to overtime.
They, I think they don't lack confidence, and that's a short-term memory on the basketball floor. You got to have that. You can't dwell on the shot you just missed. Free throws again tonight. A little bit sketchy. I got the box score on the other screen here. Would they end up? 6 of 10. So, not bad, but only going to the foul line 10 times. That's not aggressive enough. I think this team needs to drive the ball more to the rim. It ended up shooting 50% from the floor, 42% from 3-point. Got beat on the rebounds on the glass. So, there's some things to work on, and especially if Kentucky takes care of business tonight, going into that matchup tomorrow, you got to clean some of that up.
Yep, I agree with you. Big thing tonight, they had 6 turnovers compared to forced 13. That was big. 21 assists tonight. That shows you that they were distributing the ball. Like I said, Mississippi State did win the rebounding battle. Mississippi State got to the line a lot more, but shooting percentage 50%. That's a good night overall. And
but you said 21 assists?
Yeah, 21 assists tonight.
21 assists on 29 field goals. And that goes back to, like I said, you had 5 guys in double digits. That's a pretty efficient game, and you're getting other people involved.
Wished I had that, Ed. UT Sports is not updated tonight. Normally they're updated with first half, second half, and the whole game. For some reason, they're not up to date tonight. So I don't know if the stat guy for UT Sports is out sick tonight, or maybe he's hanging out at the baseball game or what. But they are not updated on that. I saw a comment earlier. It's kind of funny. See if I can find it here. It was in regards to Barnes. And, hey, I was guilty of it too. Here we go. This is a good comment. So, this Tennessee team is incredible. If you think they only lost to ranked teams, didn't lose a game back-to-back, didn't lose at home, and people was calling for Barnes' head now. How dumb. Man, I was kind of pretty aggravated with Barnes earlier in the year. I'll have to admit, I don't know if I was ready for him to go, but I was very unhappy with it. Just seemed it was very lethargic. Seems like things were not improving. It just seemed like the same old. And then I think the best thing that happened was the Kentucky game at Rupp, where they just got run out of the arena, and they really shot the ball pretty well that game. But, I mean, Kentucky was just unbelievable. I think they went back to the drawing board after that game and really took a look. And ever since then, they've been playing their best basketball of the year.
Yeah, there were a couple times we were critical, and more so of – and it's hard to gauge watching it on TV how much in-game coaching was going on. It seemed like he was – there were opportunities that he could have called the timeout to stop an opponent's run, or, call a timeout and, put 5 other guys in. If you're not getting it out, the guys on the floor aren't getting it done, you need a lot of fire under them. You need to change something up. And that's what a coach's responsibility is. And it seemed like a lot of times he was just sitting there on the sideline. He didn't quite have the Philip Fulmer, the little golf clap, we're going to give him heck. But it just didn't seem like there was a whole lot of coach. And granted, you got other guys like Will Wade and Bruce Pearl that are so animated on the sidelines. That's not Barnes' style. So it's hard to gauge when you're watching that. But you look at guys like Kennedy Chandler and the comments they make. I came here to be coached. I came here to be driven. And you see how the progression that he made during this season, you see that, and you can't help but think, well, he's doing some things right because these guys are getting better. You look at Uros, you look at Kamwa, guys that, I said the beginning of the year, if you're relying on these guys in the post, it's going to be a long season. But both of those guys have gotten better, and are, Kamwa was playing productive and efficient minutes. Uros comes in and he gets the job done. I mean, he's not going to light up the scoreboard, but he kind of emerged into an enforcer and a guy to come in and kind of breathe a little fire on the floor. So, I think that Barnes does a good job of knowing his guys and pushing them to get the best out of them. Now, has that historically translated for success in the NCAA tournament for him? No. And has he had a lot of talent on various teams, even going back to Texas and even some of those in Tennessee? Yes. So, man, I just don't. We've said it on here before, both of us. Rick Barnes knows more about basketball and has forgotten more about basketball than I'll ever know. You and I could combine and not even hold a candle to it. So it's crazy for guys like us to call out a coach, other than in like an in-game coaching. It's hindsight's 50-50. It's easy to look back and say, well, he should have done this when you know the outcome. But I think that he has done an amazing job with what he's got right now. And I think he really did, like you said, have to adjust mid-season. And I think this team really started clicking when they went to that, four-guard lineup. Like Talkin VAWLS was suggesting at the beginning of the season.
So I'll give you, in your words, give you the former clap on that one. But yeah, we said it. We kind of was in favor of that for a while. I mean, I go back to earlier in the year, we watched that Villanova game and we come on just like disgusted. And then the next day they bounced back against North Carolina. That was the first we had seen of that four-guard lineup, and they run North Carolina out of the building that day. But yeah, they kind of hit that lull. It was the same last year when conference play started. They hit it, but they really never came out of it last year, where this year it was like they would have what, we talked about, and you brought it up earlier. They haven't lost back-to-back games all year. But, man, it felt like there was a stretch of just where they played their worst ball, whether it was a win or a loss. And there was some wins that felt like they were pretty fortunate to have. But, I mean, I still maintain that Kentucky game, sometimes you need that, especially the timing of it, because at that point in the year, you get your asses whipped. It's not the end of the year. You either learn from it or that's it. And they learned from it. They adjusted. And ever since that, I mean, this team's, it's been a totally different team. They're not perfect. They're not always going to play beautiful, but and we've talked about defense. We've talked about, well, does defense still win championships? I'll tell you what, man, this team's made a really good case that defense, where would this team be without their defense? And I'll eat crow on it. I mean, I still maintain you've got to have some offense to go with that defense. But, if you can light it up but you can't defend, it's pointless. So, I got crow to eat on that. This team's defense has been their calling card, and, it's allowed their offense to improve as well.
I think they play much looser offensively when they're playing good defense.
Yeah.
When they're turning the other team over and not necessarily pushing in transition, because they don't seem to get up and down the floor and get a lot of transition easy buckets. But when they're turning the other team over and pushing it, the offense seems to click a whole lot better. They just half court sets. It seems to be a grinded out. That I don't know. It's a struggle when they are just running down and getting in a half court set.
It seemed like that their bad stretch of games was when, especially the Kentucky game and the LSU game, I felt that was their worst defensive efforts of the year. And I don't think it's any coincidence. Since that, their defense has been spot on. I mean, the game they lost at Arkansas, their defense was fantastic. Right. It was just there's a lot of factors that come into that game. I'm not going to debate that game, but needless to say, they had some legit beefs about that game. But ever how far this team goes, it's going to be on their defense. That's what's going to win. If this team were to win a national championship, it's going to be because of their defense. Mm-hmm. And again, I still think you have to have an offense to go along with it. But a lot of times, your best offense is a great defense.
Wayne's point right there that he put up the about the team meeting that Josiah Jordan James called, and you had Dane Bradshaw talking about it, which I love to listen to Bradshaw call a game. I think he's not just because he played at Tennessee. I think he does have a little bit more insight and kind of knowledge of Tennessee, but man, I like to listen to him call a game. But that little tidbit, I like that. Talking about bringing everybody in, and everybody has a voice, and everybody needs to step up and be a leader. Which is something earlier in the season we kind of called out. Who is the leader? Who's the alpha? Who's going to step up? And, it was – you've kind of had Vescovi towards the front half of the season. He was your consistent, guy night in and night out, going to lead you in scoring. But I think towards the end of the season, I think James has really stepped up. I think he's always been kind of the glue to this team. His athleticism. Heck, the guy led the team in rebounding last year, playing, off guard, not really playing down low. And he's got a knack for being around the ball at good times. I think his success this later part of the season has been due to the fact that he's stopped relying on just a jump shot, and he's started driving towards the rim more. And with that, I think his three-point shooting has been better.
I think it has been too, because I thought for a point in time he was settling for that three-point shot, and it was just like multiple games. It's like, come on, man, just stop shooting them. And then, he started driving. That's his game is multifaceted.
Look at his stat line tonight. Look at his stat line tonight.
Yeah,
6 of 11 from the floor, 4 of 6 from 3-point. So, I think that with the guys you've got out there, with Vescovi, with Chandler, with James, with Ziegler coming off the bench, the year that he has had, if he's not the sixth man of the year in the conference, I don't know if you could find somebody else better coming off the bench. The impact.
I'm going to go out on a limb. If I'm wrong, then serve me a plate of crow. I'm going on record right now at 8:37 p.m. on March the 11th, 2022, on a Friday night. this Tennessee team will make at least its second ever Elite Eight this year.
All right. There we go.
I like I think they've got a good mix of bigs who can, all of them have a different skill set. Every game, it seems like each one of them serves a different purpose. I feel that James, he's kind of your do-it-all guy.
Mm-hmm.
Vescovy, he can score, but just the presence of Ziegler, Chandler, Vescovy, it's basically 3 point guards. That's a big deal. It's a big deal. This team's confident. They're loose. They are. The fact that they didn't come in tight tonight, they may get drilled tomorrow. And if they do, they do. But I feel confident. This team is confident. Barnes is. I'll give Barnes credit. Like you said earlier, there was times we're wondering if he's. Boy, I think he's just relaxed.
Yeah.
And but I like the mix that they have. They know their rotation. They know what they're going to do. I still say this conference, you do not. I don't know about Auburn. I think Auburn is going to get the way they're playing. I think they're a good candidate for an early round upset, not first round, but second. I don't think you want to see Kentucky, Arkansas, nor Tennessee in the tournament. I think Auburn is playing their worst ball at the worst time. Man, I don't know if I have a prediction about Kentucky. That's a tough one. I will say this. I think if Tennessee gets by Kentucky tomorrow, and obviously Kentucky has to win tonight, I'm confident they will. We're going to be cutting some nets down on Sunday. And that's no disrespect towards Arkansas. None at all. But, that win in Fayetteville was very questionable for Arkansas that night. It was very questionable. I think this Tennessee team, again, I'm going out on a limb. I'm going to stick to it. Elite Eight, at least. I feel this team, I like what they've got, their defense. And again, this goes back to me eating crow already, but ever since their defense, we've seen that offense pick up. The defense has remained steady.
Right.
And they are a team, if it's a grinded out game, they're used to those. You get a team who's maybe used to those high scoring games. What are they going to do when it's a grinded out game? This team's used to it. We've got a few weeks of basketball left as Tennessee fans. Let's put it that way. So, in my opinion.
I love it. I love it, kid. Hey, you see Kentucky tomorrow. It's a rematch, or it's a rubber match. You see Arkansas Sunday. It's a rubber match. You had everybody winning their game at home. I couldn't think of a better way to roll into the NCAA tournament than playing those two teams. Tough, hard games. As long as you stay healthy. As long as you stay healthy, that's a big key. Saw a bunch of guys going to the sideline, getting looked at, getting stretched out, tweaking ankles. Huntley Hatfield went to the sideline. Of course, Kennedy Chandler. Got to have everybody this time of year. Everybody's beaten and banged up, and I said it earlier. You got some guys that are playing their last minutes of college basketball. So, if conference games aren't tough enough as it is, put a kid out there, that's potentially playing his last minutes ever. Guys that aren't going to go play in Europe or stuff like that. You're getting maximum effort. So it's fun to see.
Yeah, and there's I mean, we talked about it, and I saw some comments earlier about talking about how many freshmen are in this rotation. And I've said it throughout the year. I said I thought this team's best years were ahead of them. You know, it's going to be interesting because I still maintain it. Chandler's not coming back after this year. There's just no way. And I would love for him to. It would be awesome. But at the same time, this Tennessee program, you honestly need Chandler to be going to NBA and getting drafted pretty high.
Yeah.
That is a good thing. You don't want highly ranked guys coming to Tennessee and then they can't get drafted.
And fizzle out.
That's not a good look. You want Chandler to be that. He may not be a lottery pick, but that mid to early 20s first round, where I feel he's probably at right now, that's pretty good for him. And then if all these guys come back, I mean, you're losing Fulkerson. Bailey did not go through senior day, which leads me to believe he may come back, or who knows, he may transfer. I don't know what his options are as far as that goes, because he has transferred once already. So I don't know if he would get a free transfer or not. Maybe he does.
But he sat out a year too, so I think he would.
Yeah, he may do it. So that may be a case he goes somewhere else and plays next year, which opens up another scholarship. Man, if you return everyone next year, you get Conwa back, you've got Euros. These guys keep improving. You've got Adu. You got, if Huntley Hatfield comes back and improves, you got Ziegler. You got B.J. Edwards coming in.
But speaking of B.J. Edwards, did you see he led his team to a state championship with a fractured foot?
I did not.
Played
interesting.
Played all the way through the state tournament with a fractured foot.
And won it?
Yes.
Nice. Tells you what kind of a player they have coming in right there with B.J. Edwards. If James comes back, I mean, I still think James and possibly even Vescovi go through the process. I mean, what do they have to lose? They can go through it. They can come back. I don't blame them if they do. But, you know, Tennessee basketball now and moving forward, the future's bright right now. And we'll see. I mean, I think they've not had a good year recruiting, but still yet when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, they didn't have open either. And hopefully you don't have the turnover like you had last year.
Right. But, and we talked about this before, you look at the guys that did transfer out and leave the program and the success they're having. Granted, it's not at a level of SEC play. You know, that just shows you how hard it is to get on the floor and have that success. So you look at guys like Kennedy Chandler and Zakai Ziegler coming in as a true freshman and having the impact that they're having when you've got some guys that have been in the program a year or two that can't get minutes on the floor. But they drop down and they lead a SoCon or a lesser conference, and they have a breakout year.
I would agree with it. I don't think Vescovi's. I mean, the question with him, I think, is not so much does he go NBA, does he go overseas,
right,
and play? Yeah, I agree. I don't know that James. I think James can play in the NBA, and I'm not ruling out that Vescovi can't play in the NBA either. But I think he's got a little ways to go.
I think one of his biggest flaws to me is his ball handling, and I know he got criticized a lot for coming right into the fire. He lands in the U.S. and pretty much with Lamonte Turner exiting the team for health reasons last year with his shoulder. He was just forced into running point for a team and playing out of position. But he's still he gets in the air a lot of times without knowing what exactly he's going to do with the ball. For every, amazing wraparound, no look pass that he has, he's got 2 that he throws in the third row of the stands.
Yeah. Yeah, I think anytime he drives, it's almost maddening.
Yeah.
Because it a lot of times it ends up with some airborne, ridiculous pass. And that's why a lot of times I've gotten criticized for being hard on him, but that's where my criticisms come, is just he drives in, he jumps in the air, and who knows where the hell the ball's going at that point. It may go up into the second level of Thompson Bowling at that point.
And like Terry Reed says here, he's a shooting guard. And when he's set and receives a pass, led the SEC in conference play in 3-point shooting. So
a lot of times the problem is that these guys come in by these recruiting agencies and they're rated as a point guard, or
right.
In football they're rated as an athlete or a running back or wide receiver or something, and they get moved, and that's part of your problem. He was rated a 4-star point guard coming in
and was forced to play out of position.
I would say at best he's a combo guard on it, but I think he's more of a shooting guard as well. Good player, man. I mean, he's been an asset to the program. I think he's filled. I mean, you look at it, he entered the country and he's a starter.
Yeah.
Immediately. I mean, the guy's done a lot for this program. He doesn't get the credit he deserves because he was, like you said, Lamonte Turner. I mean, that team was playing good basketball that year. And all of a sudden, Lamonte Turner's shoulder injury, career done with, and
I think
they struggled.
10 games in, I believe, was when Turner went out. And, you had Bone leave early, so it was Lamonte Turner's team. And started out playing good basketball, and then goes out, like you said, career-ending shoulder injury, season-ending career at Tennessee over, forces Vescovi into running the point and really playing out of position. And, I think that offensively he suffered his first year because of that.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that, like you alluded to earlier, this team has the option of really 4 ball handlers on the floor if you count Josiah Jordan-James. But
I mean, he was technically coming in a 5-star point guard.
Correct. So
I mean,
that is what makes this team sneaky good. You've got multiple guys that can bring the ball up. You got multiple guys that, when everything's clicking, God, man, this is an offense that you don't know who to double team. You don't know who to try to game plan for, because any given night, it could be whoever's stepping up.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the things this year, Chandler's top 10 point guard, number 1 point guard coming in, I think, by most agencies. Worst case, top 15 player. People are upset he's not playing like it and so forth. He's not Jordan Bone. Well, here's the thing about it, though. It took Jordan Bone 3 years to be that point guard. Kennedy Chandler's doing it in year 1.
Right.
It's what a lot of people do not realize. Kennedy Chandler is a special player. Yeah, maybe he's not been Chris Paul, which he's been compared to, but he's been pretty daggone good. And talking about Vescovi, he's been an asset to this program. He got forced into coming in a year early, mid-break, entering the country, and he's immediately a starter. That's tough, man. I don't think any of us can realize probably the expectations that got put on him entering a brand new country,
brand new team,
and being immediately thrust into the starting role.
He didn't go through any of the offseason workouts with the team.
No.
Literally landed and thrust into the starting lineup, playing out of position. So
yeah, I mean, what he's done, again, people's opinions get flawed or they get thrown off by recruiting agencies.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before. I mean, you throw a 5-star in front of a guy and people lose their minds over it. I mean, these guys aren't perfect that do these. I think they're good. They're very good. They know what they're doing, but I think there's times they go more on potential than anything to rate a guy. To me, and I'll stick by it, if you're a 5-star, you're ready to come in and make an instant impact. You don't have to develop. You don't need a couple years. If you're one of those guys who, yeah, you need a couple years and you're going to be an impact guy, you're a 4-star at best on it. And 5 stars means you're coming in. And I think it's valid. Kennedy Chandler's a 5-star. So he's made a big difference this year.
By that logic, would you say Josiah Jordan-James should have entered Tennessee as a 4-star?
Yes. Yeah. I think the 5 was off a little bit with him. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but yeah, that's a very good question.
I would tend to agree. I think a 5-star, but then on the flip side, you look at it. What was Ziegler's rating coming in?
What did he end up, a 3?
I believe a 3 with no D1 offers, no Power 5 offers, and then goes and lights it up at the Peach Jam and undervalued. And what he's done for this program and what he's brought, the energy as a true freshman, the impact that he's had coming off the bench, you can't measure that by a recruiting services ratings for high school basketball.
Yeah.
Not
based on what he's done. He's a solid 4-star.
Yeah, every bit of it. And his impact and effectiveness on this Tennessee basketball team, I would say it's a 5-star in terms of his impact on the team. What he means to this team is worth more than the star ratings that he has.
Yep, because he has been, like we've talked about, and like I said, if you're going to be a 5-star, you're instant impact. Based on those qualifications, those characteristics, Ziegler is easily a 5-star. Yep, totally agree with you. So, I mean, based on what we're looking at, based on what I feel on it, Tennessee's got 2 freshman 5-stars this year. Actually, they technically did with Huntley Hatfield, but
right.
I don't think he – and I wonder how much different it would have been if he would have waited a year to enroll. But still yet, I mean, he's starting to play better ball. Ziegler's been a 5-star, though. He has been – where would this team be without Ziegler this year?
Yeah. And you know, CEMF, I'm not stuck on Vescovi as a freshman. I said the kids led the conference in 3-point shooting when it came to conference play. He's been a huge part of the success of this team. He actually was the most consistent at the beginning of the season. And Ed is for UT brings up a huge point that we've talked about. Kennedy Chandler's free throw shooting. I brought it up mid-season. A 5-star should come in and hit those shots because the game's on the line. A free throw, you got to hit those, and that's
Depends
what
on your position, though. I mean, in hindsight, you go say Shaquille O'Neal wasn't a 5-star because he couldn't shoot 60%.
No, but I mean,
but I agree. A point guard, a guard, yes.
But Shaq came in and dominated his position.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, he dominated at his position. And, you know, I mean, to the extent that they implemented a defense called Hack-a-Shaq to send him to the line to exploit his weakness. So it's
is that is that if they ban Hack-a-Shaq, is that the equivalent to banning the shift?
Oh my gosh! Don't even start on that.
Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, James should have been all SEC defense. They, I don't think the all SEC teams were kind to Tennessee.
No, not at all
this year. Yeah, I agree. I was just making the point of said a 5-star would shoot over 60%. Well, you got to be specific with that. So I'm gonna be specific with. Hey,
it must be time to shut her down.
Yeah, it's about time to wrap it up. We got the must have been something with Hack-a-Shaq that brought that up. I don't know what it was, but
we weren't even talking about the blue hose tonight.
No, we were not. But we actually went a little longer than we expected. We come in playing on 30 minutes, but Tennessee plays tomorrow at let's see, what time was it tomorrow? Is it 2:30, 4:30?
I had it up.
I had it earlier and I've forgotten about it now, but
I've switched screens.
If any of you guys know in the chat while we're looking it up, feel free to drop it. Because I saw it, but I cannot remember. Maybe it's 3:30. It's something 30. It's either 2:30 or 3:30, I'm thinking tomorrow. So the plan is, hopefully we don't say Hack-a-Shaq and we get we'll get the porn busters in here, but
all right, 2:30 is a consensus.
2:30. Okay, so we'll be live right after. So hopefully it'll be around 4:30. Pretty quick game today. I feel it's going to be a pretty emotional game tomorrow, whether it's Kentucky or Vanderbilt. I feel pretty confident it'll be Kentucky. But Vanderbilt's playing some good ball. Starn says 3:30. I knew it was a 30, so I didn't know if that was Eastern or Central time. I'm thinking 3:30 was what I saw too.
These guys in the chat want to even debate on the time of the game start.
Yeah. Let's just put it this way. We will be live post game. It's going to be pretty emotional tomorrow based on who the potential opponent is. But I just want to see this team come out the same tomorrow that they did today. They just come out. It was a business-like approach. They were not. The moment was not too big for them. Now, if it's Kentucky tomorrow, does that shift the emotions a little bit more? Do they come out a little more tight, or is it like, let's do it? Yeah, that's what I'm curious to see tomorrow.
Let me give you a little update right here. 4.5 minutes left. Vanderbilt 29, Kentucky 28.
Hey.
So
interesting. Vandy trying to get hot. They're trying to
playing for
somebody's tournament a bit.
Playing for their postseason lives, live to play another day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we got to end Vandy's season tomorrow, so be it. That'd be all right too.
All right. 3:30 tomorrow, according to what I'm looking at.
3:30 tomorrow. All right. So we'll have post-game coverage probably around 5:30 or so, depending on where they go. Diamond Ball's up 8-3 in the 9th inning, getting ready to complete 2-game sweep. Of course, Rhode Island's got bases loaded with 2 out. Kirby Cannell in right now. Looks like the game actually just ended. So ground out to end the game. Diamond Vols complete the sweep tonight. They keep on rolling. They enter conference play next weekend against South Carolina.
I'll be
Curious
there.
to see what they do there. Dauber will be in the house for that one. But as usual, guys, we appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll be back with you tomorrow. We'll be back with you next week. And we'll be with you at least through the Elite Eight, if not the Final Four. My name's Andy Kidd. Final thoughts, Dauber.
Hey, let's play tomorrow. I don't care if it's Kentucky or Vandy. Let's play tomorrow. Let's get it done. Let's play on Sunday.
Yep. There's only one thing left to do. That's put your foots on the throats, and you don't let up. My name's Andy Kidd. This is Dauber. We are the Talkin VAWLS Network. Enjoy your Friday evening, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm looking for the outro now. Have a good evening, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Go Big Orange.